Well, Jodan Sancho, £60 million move to Juventus. It looks like it's a story being dropped out that I need to discuss about in here for you, and we are talking about how Jodan Sancho is running short of time. Fabrizio Romano reacting to all this, and this is what we're discussing onto this channel. Welcome to United Matters channel. Hope you guys are really having a fantabulous evening or afternoon, depending on where you're watching us from. I go by the names of Rock and David. You can as well call me Arad. Not so smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Now, we're having lots of things to talk about, but Sancho is obviously one of those that I'm gonna hate to obviously take the lead, and I think it's 100% Jodan Sancho, as there is something interesting for me that the way Erik Ten Hag is gonna hate to treat Jodan Sancho is gonna hate to elevate the mentality in the training sessions of Manchester United ever since the exiling of Jodan Sancho from the training ground of Manchester United. So we thank God for the gift of life for the Muslims. Barakallahu fikum. And let's obviously start it off with a story coming in from the man himself. That is he's Matt Hughes. He's a chief reports reporter for the Daily Mail. He has gone ahead and told us that Ten Hag is demanding that Jodan Sancho make both a public apology and say sorry in front of his teammates before he can return to the squad, a stance which has the full backing of his employers. But 5 weeks after the Arsenal game, there is no sign of reapproachment. Now, Sancho has obviously come out to make his decision that I'm not obviously going to go in and obviously try to really eat a humble pie with Erik Ten Hag and the rest of the people at the club of Manchester United. And this is what Ten Hag talks about, especially when standards are supposed to be met. Now, I think it's obviously very incynical to see to it that a fan of United is coming out and obviously not understanding exactly what Ten Hag is doing. These are things that have been at the club of Man United for a very long time, and they've gone ahead to fail us. A culture of discipline has failed to be built at Man United because of how the previous moments that went ahead to affect the longevity, you know, of the managers at Man United were held by the board. We all know that this is a club that was taken, that player power took over ever since Alex Ferguson was out of this club. That is it. So now Erik Ten Hag has gone ahead and obviously tried to do what we call inserting sanity at Man United. He went ahead and obviously trimmed the wings of Cristiano Ronaldo, Harry Maguire, Marcus Rashford, and now Jodan Sancho. That is it. So we should obviously be backing the manager. And to me, when he put out that X on his X account, I really thought that, all right, let's see his reaction, because if he feels like he has been training well and the manager doesn't obviously feel like he's training well, then it's time to prove him right that I'm training well. He saw to it that even Gary Neville, Roy Keane have come out and obviously called out the mentality of Jodan Sancho, that if at all a manager comes out and obviously mentions that you're not training well, then that shows exactly that you are not obviously getting the basics right. Yet Sancho is a talented player and he is really good. And we also to it that even the team where he was at Borussia Dortmund came out and put out a story through their Twitter account. Is known as BWB staff, all buzz. I think it was BVB buzz, that Jodan Sancho used not to arrive on training early enough because of him playing PS4, PS5 at his home until late in the night. So how can you put your career where you are earning 350,000 a week, those are pounds, in the mud because of playing the PS? You get? His console is making him a problem. Now, this is one of the things that you obviously have to understand, that the world has gone ahead to move on from where Sancho has gone ahead to understand to where it is. And I think it's obviously working well for the club of Manchester United, and obviously he's running short of time. Ten Hag is obviously calling in for a public apology and for him to apologize to the players of Manchester United. Then he also added, that is Matt Hughes, that Ten Hag is understood to have told the club that the attitude of other players in training has improved since Sancho was exiled. Now, Sancho was like an experiment that obviously came good. When players like Sancho are acting like that, all what you need as a club is simple. Try to show the players that even when you think that there is a player who is really talented and young, and you're paying him highly, that we cannot obviously touch him. We can touch him and obviously exile him to obviously train with the under 18s, and obviously exempt him from accessing the training equipment of the first team. Now, that is going to hit to elevate the training levels of players, because they now know everybody is untouchable. For Cristiano Ronaldo, one would have said Ronaldo is really old and grown up, right? He was clinching his 40s and the club had nothing to obviously get back from him, because they expected a new era coming in from Erik ten Hag. But if they are doing the same to Jodan Sancho, a player who is just 23 years of age, then it sent a very good example to the players that everyone can be touched about. And the beauty of all this is simple. We are having players that are really young that can obviously come in through and do times or 2, 3 what Sancho has not been doing at the club of Manchester United. And these players are pushing for starting positions into the starting 11 of Man United. And the good news is that after the international break, Kobe Menu is going to return. Amad Diallo is returning. You get? So that shows you exactly what the club of Man United is all about. The competition is really high between the senior players and the players graduating from the academy, and Jodan Sancho is obviously not one of those that we are obviously missing at the club of Man United, because we are having the Pelestris that can get the job done. Now, he also concluded and said that Man United will look to offload Jodan Sancho in January after being told by Erik ten Hag that he is a disruptive influence on the club's other players. Now, this was the man who obviously put out a story first that the club is considering to offload him. And after he said all this, we got a story coming in from Phil Thomas, Sun Sport, that Juventus want to send Jodan Sancho on loan in January with a view to turning it into a permanent deal for £60 million next summer. Now, obviously, if there is a deal that can come on the table that can see United get 50 or £60 million back for Jodan Sancho, I think that will be a move in the right direction to let Jodan Sancho leave the club of Manchester United. Juventus, if they believe that Sancho is really going to go there and obviously thrive and obviously try to manage him better, Sancho should leave that side and obviously leave the club of Man United in peace. Because sometimes, if you want to go far, you need to get rid of what people think makes you what you are. You know, the club has its own yardsticks, and we are trying to build a spine of players under Erik ten Hag that can weather through the storm. Sancho has shown us that he cannot weather through the storm. Now, if you cannot weather through the storm, what if it's a huge fire that is really burning? Will you obviously come in through and obviously stand still for the club of Man United? The answer is no. So for Jodan Sancho, he has been backed by Erik ten Hag for a very long time, and he is a player responsible for every mess he has gone ahead to obviously put himself through at the club of Manchester United. That is Jodan Sancho for you. But £60 million next summer to be given to Man United. Obviously, I hinted about it that if I'm Man United, I cannot sell Sancho in January transfer window on a permanent deal. I find out a very good club for him with his agency, and he goes there and thrives, because if Sancho goes to Juventus, he's going to thrive. He's going to play very well, and we've seen very many players coming in from the Italian Serie A, and they're being bought lots and lots of money. Rasmus Højlund, who came into Man United this season, we paid £72 million. Look at Andre Onana, close to £50 million. That's what we paid. Lukaku coming in from Inter Milan to Chelsea, £98 million. You understand? So Kim Min-jae, £50 million, meaning that if he goes there and thrives from January to May or June, then we can find ourselves in a position of really getting to where we deserve to be and getting some huge amount of money. Even the 70 that they obviously bought him for can obviously return in a nick of time, if at all we are selling him to a very competent club. And trust me, if Juventus are calling in for £60 million, it shows you that he can obviously be worth more than that. But it will be whether Allegri, the manager of Juventus, is really willing to obviously take on this player and obviously sign him. Now, after that story came in through, Fabrizio Romano yesterday appeared onto the United Stand, the biggest YouTube channel or YouTube fan channel for any football club, and he said the following, that Juventus are not commenting on the Jodan Sancho rumors. They are happy with their wide options at the moment. However, a January move is looking concrete for Jodan Sancho. So, Jodan Sancho is really a concrete move, and having taken 5 weeks without not putting out an apology to Erik ten Hag, it's a confirmation that he has obviously opened his exit door at Manchester United, and everything is really waiting for him to carry his luggage and quit the club of Man United. We all ran a story that Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire and Marcus Rashford have gone ahead to obviously call him to obviously issue an apology to Erik ten Hag and the entire teammates, and he said no to that, meaning that Sancho has gone ahead to make up his mind to leave Man United. It resonates with what I told you at the beginning of this ruckus, that the moment Jodan Sancho went ahead and put out that public tweet or X on his X account, it was a confirmation that he doesn't want obviously to come in through and obviously play it for the club of Manchester United. So as it stands, I think it's obviously the end of Jodan Sancho at Man United. I don't see a very huge turnaround in this ruckus. All what you have to focus on are the players that are really available. But what's going to have to catch my eye are the £60 million that Juventus is willing to pay for Jodan Sancho, and that will be obviously great because he's still young, 23 years of age. Let him go and obviously find his career elsewhere. And if at all there is a place that he wants to obviously rejuvenate his career, I think the Italian Serie A is one of the best sides, because if he goes to Borussia Dortmund, he can, but I believe they believe that they cannot obviously pay. And Man United wants to obviously look out for the club that is willing to pay a lot of money, and we believe that everything is obviously going to go on as planned for the side of Jodan Sancho. But all in all, he's the orchestrator of his own downfall at Man United, because Ten Hag protected him 100% and very many times. But it has come to our understanding that it's obviously one of those moments that he just has to sit down and obviously re-get his career. But for the beauty of Man United, it's all about the £60 million that Juventus is willing to pay to the club of Man United. And them coming in through and not commenting about it, that shows you that there is interest. Because if I thought they never had interest, they wouldn't have gone ahead to come in through and obviously talked about it in here for you. So I really believe it's something positive for Man United and Jodan Sancho. Let both sides part ways in a very, very respectable way. Rokan David remains my name. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And what's your say about Jodan Sancho £60 million move to Juventus? I sign out for now. See you later. We are coming and returning with what we call a live stream. Ciao, ciao.